Hello, hello. Welcome to our webinar. I'm Kelly, and today we're going to focus on how to win, focusing on AEO to help increase visibility. And we're going to give you all the details around that. But coming up in the second half of our time together today, we have a special treat for you. It's a fireside chat with our Thrive clients, Steve and Amanda Sullivan of K&L Roofing. And just to give you a little background on why we wanted them to come and talk to you so badly today, is they've been in business since 2005. They own and operate their roofing company in Tennessee. And since using Thrive, they have achieved page one Google ranking in Maryville, Tennessee. They've maintained a 60 to 70% average lead conversion rate. They've replaced multiple software tools by consolidating operations into one platform. They've expanded their service area. They've improved their customer satisfaction, and we'll get to talk to them all about it in just a few minutes. But before we really get started, we have to do a couple of reminders for you. As always, send us any questions that you would like through the chat. We have some folks behind the scenes that are capturing your questions. If we don't get to them at the end of our webinar today, don't worry, we will follow up with you afterwards. And we'd love to hear from you. If you have any ideas or aha moments or pieces that you feel you could implement right away, we want to know what that is. So we want to know what you love about this webinar. So have some fun with those emojis. I know we all have our favorite ones. So send us some emojis along the way. And then stay to the end. We've got a short survey opportunity that we would love for you to take a part of so that we can learn about your feedback from this webinar and a special offer. But as always, one of the questions we get the most is, can we get a copy of it? Like, are you recording? And yes, we are recording this webinar and we will send it out after the event. So if that is enough of the housekeeping, let's jump in. And so we're going to start by talking through what is AEO and how can it affect your business and how to win? And it's answer engine optimization. But before we jump into all things AEO, we're going to take just a quick trip down memory lane. And let's talk about 20 years ago. And if you owned a small business, what did the online landscape look like back then? And what did you have to know and have to do as a small business owner? Well, 20 years ago, you had to be an SEO expert, whether you really wanted to be or not. You had to know what keywords people are typing in, not necessarily talking or speaking into, right, as they do a search query. You had to know how to rank on page one above the fold. You needed to know how to do your website copy and the special keywords that would be included, how to build authority through backlinks, how different directories really impacted your site's visibility, and how to keep all of your business listings up to date and accurate. Back then, search was simple. As customers would type in something like, I need a roofing contractor near me, Google returned a list of blue links. That's it. And your goal was to show up higher than your competitors. And if you ranked well, you won. Well, we know that today in 2026, we search differently than we did 20 years ago. We ask questions, we ask for recommendations, and we type them or voice text them in to Google. And we also use things like Siri or Alexa to do so. Social media platforms have just become another place that we search, and we can go directly to those sites. We do our homework before we ever bother to drive to a business or make a purchase by looking at small and medium businesses' reputation through different online reviews. And we find our information from Google business profiles without ever even having to click through to a business website, because we get our questions answered without even having to go that far these days. And we trust AI summaries that choose for us. AI summaries are choosing for us what businesses to pay attention to. So these days, the biggest difference is our expectation is to get an answer and get it quickly. Okay, so as we continue to look through this, customers are not only expecting answers, but again, they're getting them before even visiting the website. And that world of automation has really changed the game in getting information out at the first contact point with a potential client with AI answers, as well as having a follow-up motion after the estimate or the quote has been given, but maybe the prospect didn't say yes on the spot. And automation has created these touch points to stay top of mind so that when the lead is ready, they hopefully think of you first because of the automatic follow-up communications that have been sent. We have local map recommendations. We look at social media probably more than we care to admit, and we can find anything and everything. And we let the peer pressure, right, of other people's opinions influence our own buying decisions. So why all of this is important? Why do we care about all of this that we've been talking about? Well, half of consumers are using AI. So if you would help me out, raise your hand, tell us in the chat, are you in that 50% when you're evaluating making a purchase? I'm guessing you are if you're on this webinar with us today. But regardless, half of your customers are. Whether you use it or not, half of your potential customers are using AI search tools. 400 million people use various AI assistants. So if you would help me out, I'd love to know. I see a lot of yeses. Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately. Yep, that's right, Nick. Unfortunately, we're using AI. What are you using it for? Just for fun, if you would tell us in the chat, what are some of the things that you're using AI for in your personal or professional life? We would love to know some of the things that you use it for. So as these are coming through, I'll start, okay? I'll go first. I'm using AI a lot in my personal life for 7th grade math homework. And it's been a minute since I was in 7th grade. So luckily AI helps me with giving me step-by-step answers and how to solve these problems so I can help kiddos with homework, right? I see some folks, thank you, Jason, for research, for comparisons, for purchase decisions, for creating pictures. Yeah, they're coming in so quickly. I so appreciate this. I use it for everything. Thank you, Melissa, for dubbing content, for research. Danny says for everything. Help with teenagers. Absolutely, Laura. Absolutely. For advertising, to qualify loans. I mean, you can see the variety that folks are using AI for, and it would make sense. You know, this change is happening very rapidly. And what that means to us is there's been a 50% decline in traditional search as we know it. So that's why we care. And that's why we want to make sure that our businesses are taking advantage of some of the pieces that we can leverage here. So just sharing with you a little bit, when we're talking about SEO versus AEO, it's not really about replacing one or the other. It's about understanding how search has evolved with all the things that we've just mentioned today. Yes, restaurants and movie theaters and cities that you visit. Absolutely. An online job for youth. Awesome. Product comparisons. Absolutely. And SEO is really what most of us are familiar with. It's about helping your website rank on Google. That usually means finding the right keywords, organizing your content clearly, earning those backlinks, and keeping your site technically healthy. And the goal, again, showing up on page 1. And that still matters. That still matters today. But here's where things shift a little bit. Answer engine optimization, this AEO piece, is about what happens after someone searches. And now we're in a world where Google doesn't just show a list of links, it generates AI overviews. Voice assistants are reading these answers out loud. AI tools are summarizing information and recommending businesses directly. So AEO is about making sure that those tools can actually understand your business. We want to make sure it knows, like, what do you offer? Where do you operate? Why are you different? What are customers saying about you? And so it's really about structuring your content so that AI can easily pull it and say, this is the business that we're going to recommend. And that's why it matters. It goes to that zero-click search that we've talked about. Zero-click searches are increasing, and that means people are getting the answer they need without ever having to click to a website. They already can see the hours of operation. They can see the reviews. They see the top recommended businesses, and they can make a decision just like that right there. So visibility today isn't just about getting the click anymore. It's about being that trusted source that Google, that AI tools, and voice assistants are pulling from. So that's why we can't rely on SEO alone. We need SEO to rank, but we need AEO to be chosen. So let's take a closer look as to what does all of this mean? How does it work? Well, traditional search engines like the Google we've known for years look at things like keyword relevance, backlinks, and page authority. They're asking, does this page match what the person typed in? Do other websites trust it? Is it credible enough to rank? And that's the traditional SEO playbook. But AI search and voice assistants think just a little bit differently. They're not just ranking links, but they're trying to select an answer. So instead of just looking at keywords, they're evaluating things like, is your business information consistent everywhere? Do your listings match across directories? Are your reviews recent and trustworthy? Is the content clear and easy to understand? Is your information structured in a way that AI can quickly extract? So think of it this way. Traditional search ranks, answer engines choose. And that's why accurate listings and strong reviews matter so much. They don't just help you rank, but they help you look credible enough to recommend. And on your website, clarity is everything. Clear service descriptions, direct answers to common questions, structured FAQs, straightforward headers. And when your content is easy for AI to read and summarize and trust, then your chances of being pulled into AI summaries go up. So it comes down to that consistency. Part of it is that name, address, and phone number. That needs to match everywhere. Your reviews need to be strong and recent. And then those FAQs should really directly answer real customer questions. So we'll talk through a little bit of that and how all of these pieces work together. Is it's sending one big signal that says this business is reliable. And in the world of AI powered discovery, reliability is what gets you selected. So when we talk about AEO, it really comes down to these 5 key ways that small businesses can win. We're looking at listings, reviews, website, offerings, and social. So we'll go just a smidge deeper into each one of these pieces to clarify a little bit more. So with the listings piece, it's again making sure that business information is accurate and complete, that those profiles are completely filled out, not just with the name, address, and phone number, but with your hours of operation, with payments that you take, anything that can be filled out to give people those answers that they're looking for, and making sure that it's consistent, not just in one spot, but across all directories, because AI systems, they love that consistency. And when we look at reviews, keeping them fresh, responding to reviews is really important, and having those recent active reviews show that your business is engaged and trustworthy, which helps AI and potential customers trust you. So how many of us have looked at reviews and we've noticed that they might have been from months ago or maybe weeks ago, depending on what type of business it is? I mean, if we think about like a restaurant, how long ago would you expect to see a review? Maybe from this morning, or maybe last night, that you would have expected that someone would have written a review about a restaurant. But if we think about a home remodeler, maybe we would expect to see a review within maybe the last couple of weeks, because they're not necessarily turning customers quite as quickly as a restaurant would. So there's not really a one size fits all, but they need to be recent according to the type of business it is and how often, they're doing jobs and how often they're seeing customers, right? When we look at the website itself, again, structuring that site so that AI can quickly find the answers. So having FAQs, having clear service pages, direct answers to those common questions, make it easy for AI tools to search for your business. So think about, like, what questions do people tend to have when they call your business? What are the most commonly asked questions that you hear either when you answer the phone, or maybe some of your team members answer the phone? What are a lot of the questions that you get? If you could create answers to those right on your website, that's one big way that you can win. And then when we look at what you offer, being clear and specific about what you provide. we don't just say like, oh, well, we can fix things. We can help you out. Well, help me out with what, right? Spelling out your services so that AI and people immediately understand what it is that you do and maybe what it is that you don't do too. People's attention spans are short. So making this easy to know what you do without having to look all over the various pages. Because remember, those 0-click searches, again, those are increasing. So we're trying to provide the answers, make it obvious what it is that you do so it's crystal clear. And then with social media, having that active presence, looking at when was the last time that you posted, kind of the same with reviews that we see, that recency in posts is really important. And not just posting, but responding back to comments and showing that you're engaged and involved in your social media presence. So when we talk about AEO, the big shift is really this. Visibility is now happening before the click, right? And that's really important. So customers aren't just browsing websites like we used to, but they're choosing from businesses that are popping up directly in AI summaries, in voice results, and in map listings. So if you're not optimized for answers, then you could be invisible. So that's why we need to optimize for both rankings and answers. Traditional SEO still matters. And like we say that the businesses that optimize today are the ones that AI trusts tomorrow. I'm going to say that again. The businesses that optimize today are the ones that AI trusts tomorrow. But now our website needs clear headers, those direct answers to those customer questions that we've talked about, those structured FAQs, so that AI can easily pull that information from there. And at the same time, your listings and reviews have to be strong, that consistent business information, those updated service details, and steady recent reviews all signal credibility. And AI systems look for alignment across your website, directories, and social presence before recommending you. So consistency is really what is building trust here. And the challenge, and we hear this from small and medium business owners all the time, is that maintaining that momentum, that's what's difficult, because a lot of us are doing that manually today. And that's where automation can come in, and automation keeps your listings accurate, your reviews responded to, your content active, and your visibility consistent without the daily manual effort. So today, winning search isn't just about ranking, it's about being the business that AI chooses to recommend. So of course, what does this look like in practice? Well, we can help you with this because we help small businesses here at Thrive manage their visibility across search engines, AI platforms, and online directories, and we do it all from one place. So instead of logging into multiple tools, you can centralize your listings, your reviews, your website updates, and social media in a single system. That means that your business information stays consistent everywhere that it matters. And automation means it keeps your business running in the background, posting and prompting those reviews and responding to customers, so you're not stuck doing it manually every day. And the result is that you increase your chances of being selected in AI generated answers. You strengthen your online credibility, and you can manage leads from the moment someone discovers you all the way through to conversion. So instead of juggling a lot of disconnected tools, you get an end-to-end system that helps you get discovered, helps you build trust, and turn visibility into real revenue. So now I'm going to transition to the star of the show, Steve and Amanda Sullivan from K&L Roofing. I want to welcome them to our call today, and let's hear from them on some of the ways that they have leveraged some of these practices in their business and what it has done for them over time. Steve and Amanda, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. We're thrilled that you're here. And first and foremost, would you just talk to us a little bit about the true partnership that you have with Thrive?
Yeah. So we've been with Thrive for quite a while. We've owned multiple businesses, and we've really utilized Thrive a lot with this one. Roofing requires lead generating more than our other companies we had. So Josh is our rep, and he came in and really helped us on how to grow, when to grow, on advertising, when to push, when to cruise. In our industry, we have slow and busy seasons, and really optimize our spending budget when it's the best.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. And now, before you were working with Thrive, how were customers typically finding K&L Roofing? Were you relying mostly on word of mouth, like we hear from a lot of customers? Were you trying to show up and search? What did that look like?
Yeah, it was mainly word of mouth, seeing our vehicles, things like that. Previously, I had someone else build our website, and they didn't build it properly, so didn't realize it, but wasn't getting any Google presence with it. So that was not helping us at all. So we was really just relying on word of mouth and just what people seen us around town.
Sure. And I think, that's pretty common, right? We hear that. So when you first heard about this whole answer engine optimization, AI and voice assistants recommending businesses, how did that feel? Did that feel relevant to a roofing company in Tennessee? Did that seem like something more for different brands or different industries? What did that look and feel like for you at the beginning?
Yeah, that's always freaked me out, the whole system of they listening to you talk. But it's done it to me forever. Just be talking about something and it pop up. And I've actually had friends text me and say they'd been talking about stuff and see our ads pop up. And so it's huge. I think it don't matter what you're in. It's a game changer for all industries, I think, no matter the size.
It is a little scary, isn't
Yeah.
it? But yes, it is very important. Thank you. And just walk us through, what did that feel like to go from from page 5 to page 1 on Google? And I believe y'all did it in just under 4 months. I mean, did you notice a difference in the type of calls and in the type of leads? And what did that progression feel like?
It was overwhelming, just because our leads cranked up so much, and I was a one-man show. I was very impressed with it. The leads started getting, we call them hard leads, soft leads. They become better leads, because nobody's scrolling past a half a page really on Google. So leads turn into better leads, and just overwhelming of the exposure we was getting just from that.
That's great. And it looks like, as I'm studying here, that your lead volume increased, when you say overwhelming, 146%. I mean, what did that kind of growth look like in the day to day? If you're a one-man show, or for you and your team, how did that go?
Uh, well, she rode with me one day and realized how much my phone was ringing, and we hired 4 people within the week. So it forced us to grow. And that's one thing I'll throw in here. Y'all are phenomenal, but as a business, we have to do our part to help you let us grow. So if we wasn't willing to grow, then it don't matter how good you guys do. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? So it forced our hand to allow that growth to happen, to put things in place.
That's awesome, and created 4 more jobs there. That's
Yeah.
great.
About 7
That is,
more. We hired 4 office people plus other people. So it was,
wow.
yeah, it was crazy.
So no wonder you say overwhelming. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my
So
phone
just,
averaged a new call every 60 seconds. But
oh my goodness.
I was selling, project managing, and answering phones. So it averaged out to about every 60 seconds I had a new phone call coming in.
It was crazy. I rode with him one day and he's on top of a roof answering phone calls, scheduling appointments on top of a roof. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. And I was old school writing stuff in a book. I had you guys then, but it was just me and I couldn't utilize everything. And I was missing appointments. just there was a lot to learn with the growth that you guys gave us in so quick.
And that is awesome. I don't know if you're able to see the chat, but you're getting lots of kudos and congratulations. And Ruth says this is amazing. Charles, we were just to answer your quick question, 146% lead volume increase is the growth that Steve and Amanda are speaking to right now. So thanks for sharing. I mean, that's just incredible that you all were able to get some folks hired, get some help, because it sounds like the whole, keeping all the balls in the air, keeping everything, spinning was, sounds like it was tough if you're trying to do that on top of a roof balancing.
Yes.
So as we move to just connecting the topic of today of answer engine optimization to business, and talking about how today we do search differently. We're asking Siri, we're checking these Google AI summaries, we read these reviews. How has that changed for you as far as what are customers saying if you ask them, how did you hear about us? Are they mentioning that on the phone or as you're out doing your estimates and you're speaking with them? What does that look like now?
I always try to ask, just sort of, it's an icebreaker too. How'd you hear about us and stuff? It used to be, of course, all word of mouth. My aunt used you, stuff like that. Just yesterday, I was on a job and she had 2 billboard roofers. And then she was like, but I Googled and you guys came up and your reviews were incredible. So I figured I'd give y'all a chance. I sold the roof. And then she was like, I'm so glad I looked you guys up. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I would say our conversion is probably 35% word of mouth. And most of it is online. I Google everything. So I do it all. Even if I know somewhere, I'll just put spot near me and just see what's out there. So it's today's market for sure.
Absolutely. And we know that reviews are a big part of AEO. How do you all approach getting reviews from customers, and how has that changed since working with Thrive even?
Google reviews are the hardest thing to get in business. I get people tell me all the time, honey, I hired y'all for your review, but I don't leave them. So the process that you guys have is phenomenal. It makes it super easy, but still getting them to leave a review is so hard. So I've had to find out what works for our industry. So I actually give $50 off final invoice if they were satisfied to leave us a review. So your system helps us tremendously throughout the process, makes it smooth and easy. But I've had to find as a business owner how to get that review. So that's the hurdle. And I'm talked to a lot of other roofing companies and a lot of other companies, and that's the big hurdle for us, is because most people just don't want to fool with it,
Sure.
So I've found if you throw $1 at it, it will get them to, think about it more. For us, everybody has their own thing, but for us, that's what we've had to do.
Sure. I realize that could look different depending on where you live, what type of industry it is, but that's good to know that that's what's been working for you all. Thank you for sharing that. And when we think about, you said better leads, and when we think about, okay, how can we always want to get better, be more efficient, be more organized, be more, do more, have more. When we think about that, we went from Stephen, you were handling everything solo, you said, at a 70% lead conversion rate, and then your appointments are nearly doubling. What was the biggest operational change that made all that possible? I know you hired some folks, but what systems did you put in place to be able to manage through that?
Actually using y'all's scheduling system, because my scheduling system was a little black book and I was writing their name and everything down. But using y'all's scheduling system, it goes directly to my calendar. So my office girls, if I get somebody call and they're on this side of town, they'll book that appointment close to that one. And I'm optimizing time, I guess you could say, to where I'm not, when I was doing it, I would put 50 minutes in between drive time. So they're actually, the scheduling has been one of my favorite things. Is it's so much more efficient to where I'm able to knock out, instead of 4 appointments a day, I've ran 14 a day because they would book them so close. So that's been my favorite part, is scheduling, because it sends me a reminder, leave now. It takes you 14 minutes to get there. Like, I love that part. So
Yeah, it sounds like that's been a game changer on both ends for how you do business and how people do business with you, right?
oh, they love the email the day before reminders we send out, the texting. Like, a lot of my Google reviews love our communication, which I'm the same way. I hate when somebody calls and says, I'll be there between 8 and 7 p.m. Like, it's just, this here sends you a reminder the day before, the day of, all that. Like, I love the scheduling system with you guys.
Awesome. We've just come to rely on those reminders so much.
Yeah.
And I know that we talk about Thrive as a one-stop shop. And for a business owner who's juggling jobs and customers and marketing, and why does that consolidation matter so much for you? And what has that done for your business?
So, if you have, to me, I have found, if I have like an AccuLinks, or I have all these different companies that's handling my estimating, handling my books, handling scheduling, like handling everything. For one, I'm having to check and make sure everybody I'm paying is doing what it's doing. So when I'm using one company, it's easier to track progress and track everything like that. And if I have an issue, I got one person to call for everything. And all my office girls love just having one place to go and check everything out that way. And one app. I got the app, so if I have anything I need to look at, just go to the app and check it out. So I don't have to think, well, where's this at? What app is this at? Or it just makes things a whole lot more proficient.
Great. Thank you for sharing that piece there. And we know that it sounds like you're in Maryville, Tennessee, and you've expanded into Knoxville area. And what's next? What are your goals for K&L Roofing, and how does staying visible online with some of the things we talked about today, how does that factor into those growth plans?
Well, I always say that I'll grow however the Lord wants me to grow. I'm shooting for the moon, but Knoxville, I've always heard, be 5 Mile famous. So grow to where you're at and then expand out. So that's the kind of stuff I'm working on right now, is just doing that. I will say today is online. I got some old school roofers here that they're not online, and you just can't grow like that. And I've even talked to them about getting online and how it would help them. So online is today's market, today's game, and if you're not, then it's hard to progress anything like that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I've got another question for you. As we think about, like, we've got a lot of small business owners on the call with us today, and maybe another roofer or another contractor that might be in your industry. And maybe they're a little bit skeptical about some of this online information and trying to keep it up to date and all the digital marketing stuff that keeps coming our way. So, what actually moves the needle? What advice would you give to other folks that might be trying to sort through this and go, okay, what makes sense and how do I keep up with it all?
I think one thing is work with your Josh, work with your person that's working with you to see what your region and area calls. But if you're not doing online right now, it sounds cheesy. I didn't even realize it rhymed, but I said if you're not online, you'll get left behind, and that's so true. If you're not marketing, if you're not out there, you'll get killed on it. To me, I have learned, and Josh has helped me learn, that there's branding, there's branding, and then there is like hard leads and all that. But sorry, we've had a little difficulty. There we go. There's branding, billboards, things like that. And then there is the online. I've chose to go that route to where I have some billboards and things, but online has helped us so much that that's where we're going to keep continuing to grow and keeping up with the times for sure.
Awesome. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good. Yeah. We
Okay,
had
good.
something popped up. So
Yeah, I have a little technical difficulty too. Good news is we've got lots of folks behind the scenes helping us out. So I'm gonna do my best here, but talk to us if you don't mind, just a couple of more minutes. We had a few questions come in from the audience about how do we handle a bad review when that comes in? What does that look like for y'all? I'm sure it doesn't happen too often, but
listen,
we know that it's possible.
I'm going to be honest with you. We're super blessed. I have never had a bad review. Me being the owner, I'm hands on. I run things a little different too. I run project managers on site the whole project. So if something's going on, they know they can call me. And where I sell and these people get to meet me, we have stuff come up. But I've also learned as a business owner, you're only as good as your word. So sometimes you got to eat a dollar to save face because bad reviews will kill you. So I just do what I can. If I got to lose money, I lose money. But that review could cost me tens of thousands opposed to what it cost me just to do something, even if it ain't on us. So we've been super fortunate not to have bad reviews. So I don't know. I mean, I've never had to really deal with that. I've had some rough customers, but they ain't never left me no review. So
Most of the time, people won't leave a bad review if they can stay in communication with you. If they feel like you're trying to avoid them,
yeah,
that's when they will go and leave a bad review. But we stay in like constant communication with everyone, so we haven't really had that issue with anything like that.
I'm a little different too. I give people my personal number. If we're having an issue, it's peace of mind. Again, we've owned multiple companies, so I've learned a lot. Um, I give them my personal number and like, hey, we're not trying to run. We're going to make this right. So we just handle things. And some people you can't reason with. Some people are just crazy. So you just deal with it. But we just handle things that way. So we've been super blessed, super fortunate not to have to deal with that yet.
That's amazing.
I know it'll come. So, but you just take the blows. But we are 5-star right now. So,
well, congratulations. That's amazing. If I could do one more question, I think folks want to know, like, how saturated is your area? What does that look like as far as differentiation for you?
it's like a church on every corner. There's a roofing company on every corner. It's crazy. Um, you got a lot of corporate, of course, your storm chasing companies here. I think the number was 140 roofers in our region, and we ain't that big. It's a lot of roofing companies here. At that point, it just comes down to marketing, um, and just how you carry yourself. I'm big on appearance, big on how we look through town and carry ourselves with a certain class. But the market is extremely saturated on it.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you for all your tips. Thank you for taking the time out to meet with us today. We're so thankful that Amanda, you and Steve could come and share with other small and medium-sized businesses about the things that have worked with you. We appreciate your transparency, your authenticity, your honesty, and we're grateful that you've been with us. So thank you again. And before we go, I'm going to invite my friend Kevin behind the scenes. If you would share, we've got a special offer for our friends today. Kevin, would you mind bringing up our special offer for the team today?
Indeed. We have it on the screen right now. Can you hear me, Kelly?
Yes, thank you.
Right.
we want to offer you, and you can feel free to get with the person that invited you to our webinar today, 10% off a Marketing Center Pro with SEO and a social ads silver program through June the 5th. So if you would like to know more about that and take advantage of that special offer that we have today, please get with the person that invited you to our webinar. Thank you for taking time to invest in your business. Stephen, Amanda, anything else to add before we sign off for the day?
Good.
We really appreciate you asking us to do this.
Hopefully I answered everything good. So
you did great. We're grateful for you. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.